the secret society. But gradually, the situation began to change in their favor. The Triads had members from all sectors of society, including many successful merchants, doctors, and other educated individuals. One of these members was Dr. Sun Yat-sen, who had risen to power within the Three Harmonies Society. Dr. Sun Yat-sen, also known by his real name, Sun Wan, was born in 1866 in Guangzhou. At the age of 12, Sun Wan joined his older brother in Hawaii. His study of Christianity angered his elder brother, who then sent him back to China. Sun Wan joined the Sanho Hui, or the Three Harmonies Society, in China. Following the Triads tradition, Sun Wan began learning Kung Fu and eventually went to Hong Kong. There, at the age of 18, he converted to Christianity, received baptism, and chose a Mandarin name for himself. Sun Wan, now mostly known as Sun Yat-sen, brought further shame to his family, and his elder brother told him to return to Hawaii. Sun Yat-sen was a determined young man who joined the Triad Society, Kwa Gon Hui, in Honolulu. He borrowed money from them and returned to China. It was strange that when Sun Yat-sen returned to China, he enrolled in medical school at Pechi Hospital in Guangzhou, and his brother decided to pay for his education, so he continued his studies at the Medical College of the University of Hong Kong. He also made contact with his brothers in the Triad Society and Three Harmonies Society in Hong Kong. All of his new friends in the Triads were active opponents of the Qing dynasty, and they convinced Sun Yat-sen to join their plans to overthrow the emperor. After an unsuccessful coup in 1895, Sun Yat-sen went into exile and spent about 16 years seeking support from around the world. Sun Yat-sen was still in exile when the army uprising in 1911 led to the revolution and brought him to power. He was appointed as the temporary president of the Republic of China and is widely regarded as the father of modern China. He died at the age of 58 in 1925 due to liver cancer. To defeat the imperial army, Sun Yat-sen needed manpower, money, and a political movement that could supply followers for the future. Establishing another secret society was an excellent way to achieve all three of these goals. In late November 1894, he founded the Revitalize China Society, also known as Xing Cheng Hui. The timing of this action was very appropriate, as just a while ago in the same year, Japanese Korean assassins had killed a Japanese politician in Shanghai. This incident led Japan to officially declare war against the Qing dynasty in early August. Uprising. At a time when the Qing forces were engaged in a war with Japan and suffered heavy casualties, Sun Yat-sen became convinced that the time for battle had come. He and his followers decided to launch an uprising on October 26, 1895, one of the national holidays in China when everyone pays respects to their ancestors. This day held special meaning for him and his followers, as their actions on that day were the highest form of respect to their ancestors in the Ming dynasty. Despite the deep significance of this day, the uprising turned into a tragedy. The attacking forces did not reach the ships that were supposed to take them from Hong Kong to China because they were engaged in an argument to prove whose weapon was more powerful. Furthermore, the Qing authorities had heard rumors from informants and almost 50 members of the Triad Society were arrested the next day. Seeking Triad support. Sun Yat-sen first escaped to Japan and then to Hawaii, where he joined the Che Kung Tong, also known as the Achieve Justice Society, and quickly rose in rank within the group. He traveled as a Triad member throughout the United States to find supporters for his new uprising. However, the Chinese-American Triads were not as interested as Sun Yat-sen had hoped in supporting his program. Many of them donated money but were reluctant to provide physical support. He traveled to Britain, Japan, India, China, and France. While Sun Yat-sen sought support, his Triad members in Hong Kong and China were also active. In October 1911, his associates launched an uprising in Wuchang, which spread throughout China and led to the overthrow of the Qing dynasty. On January 1, 1912, the Republic of China was formally established, and Sun Yat-sen became its first president. The Triads finally defeated their enemies, the Qing, after centuries and avenged their ancestors. Sun Yat-sen, as the president of China, didn't explicitly mention the important role his fellow revolutionaries in the Triad societies played in the revolution, but he held great respect for them behind the scenes. In appreciation of the Triad members' role in overthrowing the Qing dynasty, he granted them important positions in the government and military. While there was hardly any public acknowledgement of the Triad's role, all Triad organizations rapidly increased their membership after the birth of the Republic of China. The Triads now held such power that they had become an inseparable part of the system. It was no surprise that Chiang Kai-shek, who succeeded Sun Yat-sen, was also a member of the Triads. The Red Gang. Despite the increasing number of recognized Triad members, a large portion of the members still came from the streets and had a strong affinity for making money through criminal activities. One of these individuals was Du Yesheng, who was one of the most prominent crime leaders in Shanghai in the 1900s. Du, born in the late 1880s, quickly gained notoriety. He joined the Red Gang in his youth and became close with the gang's leader, Huang Qiyong, who was the most powerful criminal boss in Shanghai and extensively involved in the opium trade. Huang chose Du as the primary supplier of opium after Du helped recover a stolen batch of raw opium. Du, at a young age, became very famous on the streets of Shanghai. Alongside his association with Huang, he also had a reputation for violence and murder in exchange for money. By the age of 21, Du had control over many opium dens in Shanghai and ran a loan company frequented by local businessmen and wealthy foreign merchants. With numerous successes, Du quickly rose to the position of Red Pole. Triad Cartel. Du, as the Red Pole, deliberately gained the trust of his boss Huang and used it to his advantage by proposing a plan to combine the activities of three major factions in Shanghai's opium trade: the Red Gang led by Huang, the Green Gang, and the Blue Gang. Huang recognized the benefits of the joint operation of these factions and allowed Du to proceed with his plan. When the leader of the Green Gang, who was skeptical of the plan, refused to participate, Du effortlessly eliminated him and positioned himself as the leader of the Green Gang. Negotiating with the leader of the Blue Gang was much easier, and thus, the Triad Cartel was formed. Incorporating the Triads. During Huang Shanchu's leadership, Du expanded his criminal empire by integrating Triad societies and criminal gangs with the Green Gang. Du, as Huang's deputy, amassed significant wealth, and by the age of 30, his fortune reached around $40 million. He had relationships with criminals, influential politicians, and merchants, and he would either form friendships or threaten those who could help or hinder the development of his business empire. Hong Kong. By the end of the 19th century, several Triad societies had established branches outside of mainland China. When Chinese workers and their families began migrating to Europe, America, and Southeast Asia in search of a better life, the Triads went along with them. In the early 20th century, Hong Kong became one of the areas with the highest concentration of Triad communities. Prohibition of Triad membership. In 1842, the British established the colony of Hong Kong and immediately had to manage existing Triad societies as well as newly formed ones that emerged to resist British rule. Within 3 years of the occupation, the British enacted laws that made Triad membership or even pretending to be a member illegal. If someone was convicted of Triad membership, the punishment was 3 months imprisonment and 100 lashes with a bamboo wood. However, China was much more ruthless, often executing convicted Triad members by beheading, strangulation, or even more brutal methods. This situation led many Triad members to flee to Hong Kong and establish businesses there. The Second Wave. In the 1930s, several powerful Triad groups existed in Hong Kong, including Wu, Chen, Tung, Xing, Fuqihing, Yi'an, and Luen. While these Triads had complete control over Hong Kong's criminal underworld, they attempted to maintain a legitimate facade. Many registered themselves as charitable organizations, but most chose to present themselves as martial arts clubs. Martial arts clubs promoted health and respect, but they also served as suitable training centers for newcomers. Despite their outward activities, Triads continued to generate income from various criminal activities such as extortion, drug trafficking, gambling, prostitution, and extortion. Due to the diverse nature of Triad members, they had no problem investing in legitimate businesses. With the increase in power and the number of Triad members, internal conflicts escalated. In the 1930s, some of these conflicts turned into widespread massacres and clashes. The butcher's cleaver was a popular weapon among Triad members, although weapons such as knives and swords were also favored. Japanese invasion. In December 1941, Japan attacked and occupied Hong Kong. Triads in Hong Kong had different feelings about this new foreign invader. Some opposed Japan, while others collaborated with the Japanese forces. Many of these pro-Japanese Triads had employed Japanese spies and had been preparing for the occupation for over a decade. Pro-Japanese Triads. Wu Xingwu and Yi'an were among the Triads that collaborated with Japan. After the Japanese imprisoned or killed most of the anti-Japanese Triads, the Japanese army began organizing pro-Japanese Triads under a joint organization called Hing A Ki Kwan, or the Asian Flourishing Organization. This organization ensured the elimination of all remaining anti-Japanese elements. Besides capturing officials, soldiers, and Chinese spies, they also killed their rivals. Japan allowed the joint organization to continue its illegal activities and claimed a percentage of their illegal proceeds for themselves. The Triads launched exclusive brothels that provided services only to Japanese soldiers. Money was flowing into the pockets of the Triads from everywhere. Like many other countries, the black market thrived during the wartime period, and the opium dens had a lucrative business selling opium to thousands of individuals looking to forget the hardships of war. When the war came to an end, the Triads were wealthier than ever. They were ready to re-enter the global economy.